I once again welcome to everyone for the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Devi Dasi Mataji to enlighten us on the topic Sri Chaitanya Charitamrtam Antya Lila 14.22 onwards. Hare Krishna Mataji, I welcome once again to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Thank you so much for your very valuable time and association to us, Mataji. I would like to hand over the call to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Radharani Mataji, for your very, very warm welcome. 11 o'clock. Everybody for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Okay, so, and thank you, everyone, for your beautiful chanting too. We'll start now. Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jayo Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading today from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Antya Lila, chapter number 14, entitled The Lord's Feeling of Separation. And today we'll do text number 22 onwards. Dehabhyase nityakritya kari samapana kale yai khaila jagannatha darshana. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his customary daily duties, and at the usual time he went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giram yat kripahatamaham vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. So we read this today's verse, that is verse number 22. Dehabhyasya nitya kritya kari samapana kale yai khaila jagannatha darshana. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he performed his Deha Abhyasa, his customary daily duties of chanting his Gayatris and doing all his rules and regulations that he was following as per his sannyas ashram. And then at the usual time, he went to see Lord Jagannath, Kale Yei Kaila Jagannath Darshana. He went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple. So here now we will see that how what's the context of this verse and how this verse comes in. And in this regard, we'll scroll back to few verses and then we'll just touch upon here and there. And then we will try to analyze this verse and we'll cover future verses also. So we'll go back and forth. So the very first verse of this chapter, you know, that is, first of all, this chapter entitles Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feelings of separation from Krishna. It's a very esoteric subject matter. Really, you're not on that level to realize it or to explain it. But at the same time, seeking blessings, prayers, and wishes from each and every one of you to please very mercifully pray for me so that I can speak something relevant to this topic. And because this is really not our subject matter. But since Prabhupada has given us this Chaitanya Charitamrita, this PhD level course, so there might be some reason, right? That's why Prabhupada stopped the translations of Srimad Bhagavatam at 10th canto, but he wants to finish this Chaitanya Charitamrita. He wants to give this Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the entire world. So at least we should value his effort and we should read, study it nicely, as far as wherever our understandings takes us to. Because these subject matter, they unfold as our sadhana grows, as our maturity grows. These pastimes unfold themselves, right? These pastimes cannot be learned or heard by a person who is very scholarly or very technical, or who can tell that I know what is vipralamba, what is separation, so I can explain you the feelings of this separation from Krishna. No. These are Divya Gyan. And Divya Gyan, Hriday Prakashito. They have to get revealed in the heart of a devotee. So right now, definitely I'm not on that maturity level, but still trying to attempt to say something about these topics as a matter of service to my Gurudev and all the assembled Vaishnavas. But at the same time, I really want each and every one of you to pray so that I can speak something relevant to this topic. Vanchakalpatarubhast kripa sindhuvaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Okay. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has a very, very classic way of writing this whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. We know that there are 62 chapters in the entire Chaitanya Lila, this Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is divided in Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Antya Lila. And in Antya Lila, we have 20 chapters, right? As if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 20 chapters. And the last chapter is the Shikshashtakam prayers. So we are right now in the 14th chapter, and in each and every chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he starts this chapter with a verse, first Sanskrit verse, where he gives the whole synopsis of what he is going to tell in the whole chapter. Not in detail, but just a synopsis he wants to give. So you can say that first verse that he composed, that is the Sanskrit verse, because Chaitanya Charitamrita is in Bengali and Sanskrit, but the first verse is specifically a Sanskrit verse where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to summarize the whole chapter. So in this first verse also, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Krishna vicheda vibhrantya manasa vapushadhiya yat yat vyadhatha gaurangas tatlesha kathayate dhuna. So what he's saying, Krishna vicheda, feeling that separation. Vicheda means separation, separation from Sri Krishna. Separation from Sri Krishna. But we say that Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna, right? But from here onwards, till now, we know that Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. He showed his Mahaprakash Lila And this Ramananda Samvad we heard. Then we heard the Rupa Shiksha, Sanatan Shiksha, where Mahaprabhu is teaching, being in the position of Krishna, and he is Krishna. But in these later chapters, especially from here, we have to keep in mind that now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Radha Bhav. Now he's in mood of Srimati Radharani. So here onwards, we'll treat Mahaprabhu as Srimati Radharani. The pain, the separation, the feelings, the bhav that Srimati Radharani went through, the same separation, feelings, bhav will be experienced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because that was his eternal internal reason to come to this world. He want to experience the unconditional love that Srimati Radharani experienced for her beloved Krishna. So that same mood, how much sweetness is there, what kind of ecstasies are there, and how she feels that separation and still getting so much attracted to Krishna. That is the only thing that Krishna wants to experience, because of which he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here onwards, we will see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting Radha Bhav, is exhibiting the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he will be in separation for Krishna, just like Srimati Radharani was. So Krishna Vicheda Vibhrantya. Vibhrantya means quite bewildered. He was bewildered by feeling that separation from Krishna. And how he was feeling? Manasa Vapusa Diya. Manasa means through his mind. It was not an external feeling, definitely not. So Manasa, through his mind also, he was feeling that separation. Vapusa, through his body, and Dhiya, through his intelligence. So with his mind, body, and intelligence, he was feeling separation. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is feeling utterly unqualified to explain these feelings of separation of Mahaprabhu. Now try to understand who is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He is a Kasturi Manjari. He is Manjari in Golok Vrindavan. Manjaris who always associate the eternal divine pastimes of the divine couple. He, coming as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, she, that is Kasturi Manjari, coming in the form of, taking this form of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is feeling utterly unqualified to describe these feelings of separation. Yat yat vyadhata gaurangas. So he's saying that all these activities of Mahaprabhu, tat lesha kathayate dhuna. I'll just explain you a very small portion of all those activities. So he is feeling quite unqualified that I cannot explain you in detail about all these feelings of Mahaprabhu, what he is feeling, but in lesha matra, in a very small portion, I'll try to explain you the activities that Mahaprabhu went through when he was feeling separation of Krishna, when he was in this Radha Bhav. So, taking the example of this, we should also try to understand that position if of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, if he is feeling so utterly unqualified in explaining this separation, then what to talk about us who are still in this jugglery of fighting with anartha nivritti. We are still fighting with anarthas, right? We want to get rid of anarthas. So can see where our stage is. At least I'm talking about myself. Where my bhajana kriya, where my sadhu sangha is still not 100% fixed and struggling to fight with the anarthas. So what qualification do I have to explain this? So that's why these future chapters, there is nothing much to explain, but it's much more to relish for our own sadhana. So these future chapters, we should try to relish it, understand it on our own, depending totally on our sadhana. Because better the sadhana will be, the more these pastimes will be revealed in our heart. So, describing this verse, then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in his most celebrated form, he glorifies all the Parshads, the associates of Mahaprabhu, seeking their blessings. So he wrote the whole Chaitanya Charitamrta, but in every chapter, he is seeking the blessings from Nityananda Prabhu, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from Advaita Acharya and Gaur Bhaktavrinda, from all the devotees, because he thinks that he doesn't have that qualification unless and until being blessed by the devotees. So he's seeking the blessings from all of them. And then he continues. And then he continues and he tells that Mahaprabhu's emotion of this transcendental madness, Divya Unmad, Unmad means this madness, feeling separation from Krishna is very, very, very deep and mysterious. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes in this verse, right, fifth verse, Prabhura Virhanam Unmad Bhava Gambhira Bhujate Napare Kahe Yadyapi Hayadhira. This Virha Unmad, this separation, this madness that Mahaprabhu is feeling because of separation from Krishna, this is Gambhira. Now, there are two meanings. Gambhira, because Mahaprabhu was experiencing these pastimes in Gambhira, in Jagannath Puri. But another word of meaning of Gambhira is that it is very, very deep. It is Gambhir, right? It is very, very deep. It's very mysterious. Bhujate na pare kahe yadyapi hayadhira. Nobody can explain this transcendental madness that Mahaprabhu is feeling in separation from Krishna, even though he may be a very learned, he may be dhira. Dhira means he may be very learned, very scholarly. But still, he cannot explain the feelings that Mahaprabhu was going through, that feeling of separation. In this regard, we can understand that how, when a child is taken away from his mother, you know, somehow when the mother loses her child or, misses her child, what type of separation she goes through. Each and every item of the child reminds her of her child, right? But the experience that she is feeling, nobody else can feel. Uncles, aunts, they can also have the same type of feeling, but not to an extent that mother can feel. So, similarly, this Bhava Dasha of Mahaprabhu, when he is in this Radha Bhav, it cannot be understood intellectually, right? So, another example can be given that, someone who doesn't have a child, he or she may talk about parenting, but that will be not onto the deep level of experience. But when a parent speaks something about parenting, they talk about through their experience, right? Because they know that they have gone through. But those who doesn't have a child and speak about the behavior of child or how to parent a child, I'm not saying that they may not be qualified in speaking, but definitely they miss this special ingredient that is known as experience, which is very, very important. So, experience speaks. For example, if I tell you about mango, and this mango is yellow in color, and when it is ripened, it takes little reddish, and it is very, very sweet, and it has one seed in it, and the taste of mango is utterly sweet. No matter how much I can give you the whole lengthy essay on mango, but you'll not experience it. But once you taste the mango, once I give you a piece of mango and let you taste that mango, then you will understand what I was talking about, because you'll have that taste of that mango. Now, once you have tasted the mango, you cannot further describe that experience of mango. because these experiences cannot be described. It has to be experienced, right? It has to be relished on its own. So once you have tasted that mango, you have realized what I was talking about while I was giving the description of mango. So you can realize, you can have that experience. But now, when it comes to you to tell somebody about the mango, you also feel short of words because you cannot describe that fruit. It has to be tasted. Similarly, there is a difference between theory and practice. Theoretically, we can just read various books of our acharyas and explain about these feelings of separation. But this practical application, oh, nobody can experience. But, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes that somebody who is blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can really experience this vira, this feeling of separation. Because if Mahaprabhu shows his mercy, then yes, that person can describe this unfathomable subject matter. For example, in his Gambhira pastimes, Mahaprabhu was in with his two dear associates, Ramananda Rai and Sarup Damodar Goswami, who were Lalita Sakhi and Vishakha Sakhi. But also there was Raghunath Das Goswami, whose Rati Manjari was there. So at that time, Mahaprabhu, when he was experiencing those separations from Krishna, Sarup Damodar Goswami was witnessing moment by moment. Kaviraj Goswami writes, Shana Shana, moment by moment, they were witnessing the mood, the ecstasy, the madness that Mahaprabhu was going through in separation from Krishna. So, what Swarup Damodar Goswami was doing, that he was writing in his notebooks, moment by moment, he was writing what Mahaprabhu was going through. And Raghunath Das Goswami, who was also personally present there in Puri, witnessing all the pastimes, then he also elaborated on what Swarup Damodar Goswami was writing. And later we know that how Das Goswami, when he went to Vrindavan on the banks of Radha Kund, he narrated those pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were heard by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who also made his notes. And later this Chaitanya Charitamrta came up. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is now feeling grateful and you know, he is being very, very grateful that how, with the help of Sarup Damodar Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, he was able to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we sadhakas also have something to learn about this, that how when we get something and we should try to make notes of it, because this is the Kali Yuga mind. Everything slips off within a second. So we should try to make notes. We should try to follow them, because once written and after writing, when once shared with somebody, it gets embedded in our mind. So it's less of probability of losing it. So this is the practice that we should try to follow. Whenever we hear Gurudev's classes or some senior devotees classes, try to make notes and then share it with somebody. So it gets retained in our mind. So Kaviraj Goswami also did that same thing. So these two personalities, Swarup Damodar Goswami, when he was writing, he was recording the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu moment by moment. So what I was telling is that one is theoretically writing and understanding or seeing what Mahaprabhu was going through. But here, Swarup Damodar Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, they were blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when they were blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they could experience the mood also. It's not that they were just seeing it practically and theoretically, they were trying to understand and write, but they could experience also. And this is all because of Mahaprabhu. And because they could experience, so what Sarup Damodar Goswami was doing, that he was writing a sutra. He was not writing the whole thing, what Mahaprabhu was going through. He just used to write a small, a one-liner sutra kind of thing. And then Raghunath Das Goswami would elaborate on that sutra. Right? Kaviraj Goswami, in this 10th verse, he writes very beautiful words. Swarupa Sutra Karta Raghunatha Vrittikara Tara Baulya Varni Panjitika Vyavahara. Sarup Damodar Goswami was a sutra karta. He would write in a short aphorism kind of thing. But Raghunath was Vrittikara. He was a Vrittikara. He used to elaborate on those sutras, what Mahaprabhu was going through, because he could also feel that, that feeling of separation because of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tara Bahulya Varni. So he used to elaborate. Raghunath Das Goswami used to elaborate what Sarup Damodar Goswami used to write. How? Panjitika Vyavara. Just Panjitika means just as fluffing out the cotton. So if you have a cotton ball, so you have, and you fluff it out, right? So from one cotton ball, you get two or three cotton balls, and from those cotton balls, again, you can fluff out. So you can make out so many cotton balls from that one cotton ball. So what Sarup Damodar Goswami was writing was a one cotton ball, and just like a panji tika, fluffing out from a cotton ball, Raghunath Das Goswami was elaborating on that subject matter, which is very, very important, and because of which we could see and take this to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes. And then in text 11, Kaviraj Goswami writes, Tate Vishwasa Kari Suna Bhavera Varnan, Hai Be Bhavera Jnana Pai Be Prema Dhana. That you have to hear these pastimes with faith, without any doubt, which is very, very important. Don't think that Mahaprabhu is showing some kind of external symptoms. No, he was deep down in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So Tate Vishwasa Kari, with full conviction, with full faith, we should hear all these pastimes. Then what will happen? A kind of a Falashruti he is giving. Normally, Falashruti is given at the end of the chapter. But here, he's cautioning us. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is cautioning us. At the same time, he's giving a Falashruti, cautioning us that don't have any doubt. Just hear these pastimes with full faith and conviction. Haibe bhavara jnana. You will get this jnana. You will get to know about this ecstatic love through your intelligence, theoretically. Paiba prema dhana. And then ultimately that prema dhana, that love of God, it will be awakened in our heart. So first we'll try to understand this, what is ecstatic love, what is Krishna prema, and then ultimately we will be able to realize it, that Krishna prema will be awakened into the heart of a person who hear these pastimes very, very faithfully and with full conviction. Right? Just like Narottam Das Thakur also sings, Gaurangare Madhura Lila, Jar Karne Pravesh Lila. Right? Hridaya Nirmala Bhelotar. Gaurange Madhura Lila. When we hear these pastimes of Mahaprabhu, Jar Karne Pravesh Lila. Karna means your ears. When they enter, the Pravesh Lila, right? When they enter into the ears of somebody who hears these pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then those pastimes should not go out of the second ear. It should go directly into the heart. Then what will happen? Hridaya Nirmal Bhelotar. That dark heart we have, it gets cleansed up immediately, because now the pastimes of Mahaprabhu has entered. And Mahaprabhu, the pastimes of Mahaprabhu are non-different from Mahaprabhu, because Krishna's is absolute. There is no difference between his name, his form, his qualities. Right? Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatva Namanamino. There is no difference between Krishna's name, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes. So when this Chaitanya Lila also enters into the ears of somebody, Hirdaya Nirmala Bhelotar, the Hirdaya, the heart becomes soft, it becomes cleansed. Right? So Mahaprabhu, coming on to this subject matter, Mahaprabhu felt so much of separation from Krishna, exactly in the same way as Srimati Radharani felt when Krishna left Vrindavan and departed for Mathura. And in that separation for Krishna, taking the mood of Srimati Radharani, our dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is displaying this transcendental madness, this Divya Unmad, and which has been very beautifully presented by our dear Preeti Vilasini Mataji yesterday, where she elaborately described, as per our acharyas, what our acharyas has also documented. She has very beautifully described this Divya Unmad. What is this transcendental madness that Srimati Radharani was going through, and now Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, is going through. And this vilap, this lamentation, this vilap Unmad, this madness he is getting due and lamenting in separation from Krishna. So we learn those higher stages of prema, right? Divya Unmad, Udghurna, and Chitra Jalpa. These all this yesterday we dealt in detail. So definitely I'll not go through that because it was very beautifully explained. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in his Adi Lila also he writes, Radhikara Bhava Murti Prabhura Antare Sei Bhave Sukha Dukha Uthe Nirantare. What Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, that Radhikare Bhava Murti, this is described in Adi Lila chapter 4, that Mahaprabhu's heart is actually Radhika Bhava Murti, is the embodiment of the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's what Mahaprabhu's heart is made up of. And in that heart, the heart of Lord Chaitanya is the image of Srimati Radharani's emotions, her bhav. Say bhave sukha dukkha uthe nirantare. And in that heart, this sukha, this happiness, and this dukkha, this distress is uthe nirantare, just like waves in the ocean, they come and go. The waves, they are sometimes high, sometimes low, but they all, simultaneously, one wave will come and then second wave will follow. So these waves are continuous in the ocean, right? Waves come and go. Similarly, Mahaprabhu's heart, because now it is an embodiment of Srimati Radharani's mood, emotion. So the sukha and dukkha in the form of waves, they are coming. Sometimes Mahaprabhu will feel intense happiness when he sees his Krishna right in front of him. And just another time, Mahaprabhu will feel intense separation from Krishna and will lament, oh, where is my Krishna? Where he has gone? I cannot see my Krishna. So that dukkha also comes. So at one point, happiness comes, another point, distress comes. Intense pain of separation comes, just like in the heart of Srimati Radharani. But that heart is now, that mood of Srimati Radharani has taken residence in Mahaprabhu's heart. So now Mahaprabhu is feeling the same thing. So just describing this mood of separation, the sukha and dukkha. Now Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami narrates a very, very beautiful pastime to explain all of us what is this sukha dukkha, how Mahaprabhu's heart is feeling those waves of happiness and distress. So he tries to explain. Ekadin Mahaprabhu kari acha shayana Krishna rasa lila kare dekhila swapana So one day while resting, Mahaprabhu, Kariyache Shayana, he was nicely sleeping. Krishna Rasa Leela Kare, Dekhila Swapana. And he saw a dream in which he saw that Krishna was doing Rasa Leela with his gopis. So this pastime he saw. Tribhanga Sundara Deha in then 18 and 19 describes the beauty of Krishna that Mahaprabhu is witnessing in his dream. Tribhanga Sundara Deha Murli Vadana Pitambara Vanamala Madana Mohana Mandali Bhade Gopi Gana Karna Nartana Madhya Radha Saha Nache Vrajendra Nandana. So Mahaprabhu saw that Krishna is standing in his Tribhanga form, in his, three bent form. So Krishna is three bent, right? He's bent to his legs, then is to his waist, and then to his neck, and he's nicely playing. And he is nicely playing Tribhanga, Murali Vadana, and he's holding the Murali. Pitambara, he's wearing the yellow dhoti, and Vanamala, that Vajanti Mala, that forest flower garlands. And he is Madana Mohana, he is the one who is enchanting the Cupid also. So this beauty of Krishna is being described. Just like in Nandanandan Ashtakam also, it's very beautiful described. Tribhanga deha sundaram nakha tviti sudhakaram amulya ratna bhushanam namami nandanandanam. So now in text 19 he says, Mandali Madhya. Mandali Madhya means in circle. In circle they were all. Gopi Gana Karana Narthana. With all the gopis, Krishna was enjoying his Rasa Leela pastime. So he was in a circle, and each gopi Krishna was there. So it's not that gopis were outside and Krishna was inside. But with each and every gopi, Krishna was there and they were dancing, and it was a circle. But the original Krishna and the original our Srimati Radharani, because all the gopis are also expansions of Srimati Radharani, but our dear Srimati Radharani and original Krishna, Madhya Radha Saha Nache Vrajendra Nandan. So that original Krishna with Srimati Radharani, his eternal concert, was dancing right in the middle of that circle. So this dream Mahaprabhu was witnessing in his while he was doing his shayan. And he was wearing Pitambara, right? So Krishna wears Pitambara and our Srimati Radharani wears Nilambara, because Krishna is in the mood of Srimati Radharani, is not mood, I should say, is always in the thought of Srimati Radharani. So he wears yellow, and Srimati Radharani, always thinking of Krishna, wears blue, because that blue color reminds her of her beloved. Neelambara dhara Radha, Pitambara dharo Hari, Jivana dhane nityam Radha Krishna gatir mama. Anyway, text 20. Dekhi Prabhu se rase avishta haila, Vrindavane Krishna paino jnana kaila. Seeing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed. Avishta haila. Right? He was avishta haila. Vrindavane Krishna paino jnana kaila. He was overwhelmed with the transcendental mellow of seeing this rasa dance. And Mahaprabhu was convinced fully that I am in Vrindavan. Because though it was just a dream, but when we are dreaming, we don't realize that we are in a dream. We realize that, oh, that thing is happening right in front of us. So similarly, when Mahaprabhu was seeing this dream, Mahaprabhu was 100% convinced that I am in Vrindavan. I am seeing Krishna, I am seeing Srimati Radharani, I am witnessing this pastime. Prabhura vilamba dekhi Govinda jagila, jagila swapna jnana haila, Prabhu dukha haila. Just then, seeing Mahaprabhu delayed, because when Mahaprabhu was seeing this dream, so he overslept, because he was totally convinced that I am in Vrindavan, I am witnessing this Rasa Leela pastime. So Mahaprabhu overslept. But dear Govinda, who was very pakka in his service, very, very, alert in his services, he noticed that Mahaprabhu overslept and Mahaprabhu has not woke up right now. So seeing that Vilamba, seeing that delay in the schedule of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he did, Govinda Jagaila, he woke up Mahaprabhu, he awakened him. And as soon as Mahaprabhu woke up, naturally his dream was over. Whatever he was dreaming came to end. And immediately Mahaprabhu realized that he is not in Vrindavan and he is in Jagannath Puri. So we saw that how the waves are coming. Mahaprabhu was so happy seeing that dream, right? Because he was convinced that he is Vrindavan. But just then, his dream got disrupted by Govinda, his eternal servant, his dearmost servant. And then immediately, Mahaprabhu felt that suffering. He felt somewhat very unhappy because he realized that no more. He was just hallucinating that he was in Vrindavan. He is not in Vrindavan. He is in Puri. And then today's verse that we read, oh, it's already 11:40. I just got carried away. I'm sorry. Then today's verse that he explained is that Mahaprabhu performed his customary daily duties because now Mahaprabhu is feeling unhappy and he realized that he is just a sannyasi. He has so many duties to do. He has his own rules and regulations. So he performed his daily duties and just then he went to see Sri Chaitanya, Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Puri temple. यावत कला दर्शना करे न गरुड़ पाछे प्रभुर आगे दर्शना करे लोक लाखे लाखे. So as he was seeing that darshan of Lord Jagannath, so Mahaprabhu stood behind that Garuda Stamba and he was simply taking darshan of Lord Jagannath. Whereas lakhe lakhe, lots and thousands of people and millions of people, they were going in front of Mahaprabhu, surpassing Mahaprabhu, and they were going in front to see the deity. So we also must have experienced this in our local temples, especially during the festival time, especially during Janamashtami time in midnight Arati, when darshan opens. So many people, they just come in, right? And they step on each other, feeling that, oh, I should go and see the Lord first. They get that mood, right? So they step on others. So here we should also understand, being in a sadhaka deha, that how we have to understand that we are just the sadhakas right now. So we should not try to surpass this. Because in Vishnu temples, you might have seen, especially when you go to this Sri Venkatesha temple, Lord, just in front of the Lord, there is a Garuda. And when the doors of that temple opens, nobody is allowed to stand in middle of Lord and Garuda, because it is said that Garuda is watching, is glorifying seeing the Lord. So, and in Rama temple, you might have seen Hanuman standing. And then in our ISKCON temple, we see that how Prabhupada is there standing, was sitting, sorry, on his Vyasasana, directly facing the Supreme Lord. Most of the temples, I'm not saying all the temples because it depends upon the place area. But in most of the temples, it is the position, the Vigraha of Prabhupada is positioned in such a way that it is right in front of the Lordships. And Prabhupada is watching them and glorifying them. So as a sadhaka, these are the etiquettes that we should also try to follow. How to enter into that temple. No matter it may be a festival day, no matter it may be so many people around the temple, but we should never surpass the position of Prabhupada. As soon as we should enter the temple, the first thing is we should bow down, wherever we are, from whichever door we are entering. We should always bow down, paying obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. So we should just bow down. Even if the temple hall is empty, that's the basic etiquette, that when we enter the temple hall, we should bow down. Even the temple is empty, or even if there are so many people, try to squeeze in, find some space and bow down. And then when we bow down to the Vaishnavas, then we should go directly to Prabhupada and we should pay obeisances to Prabhupada, seek his blessings. And then we should go to the lordships and pay obeisances to the lordships. So this is how. So never surpass the position of Prabhupada. That is very, very important. So here Mahaprabhu is seeing Lord Jagannath behind this Garuda Stamba. And what he is seeing is that also will be told by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, that Mahaprabhu was not seeing Lord Jagannath. He was seeing Brajendra Nandan Krishna playing his flute. And Jagannath was seeing, not seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Jagannath was seeing pure-most Srimati Radharani standing behind Garuda Stamba. Just like when Krishna, after grazing all the cows, comes back in the evening, Srimati Radharani doesn't, or the gopis doesn't openly come and see Krishna. But from their home, behind the curtains, behind their doors, they'll see, they'll peep and they'll see, oh, Krishna is coming. So same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was standing behind Garuda Stamba, and Jagannath is not seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagannath is seeing dear most Srimati Radharani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not seeing Jagannath. Mahaprabhu is seeing Krishna, because he dreamt of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes, and just in morning, even after though his swapna, his dream was disrupted, but still he was experiencing that mood that he is in Vrindavan. So after taking darshan of Jagannath also, he was thinking, oh, my Krishna is standing, my Vrajendra Nandan Krishna, Nandanandan Krishna is standing and playing his flute. So, but then what happened? Text 24. उड़िया एक स्त्री भीड़े दर्शन न पाना गरुड़ा चढ़ी देखे प्रभु रस कंदे पाया दिया. Just then what happened? Udiya means this Odissan woman, right? Because Jagannath Puri is in Orissa. Stri bhide. Stri means woman. This Udiya, this Orissan woman, bhida, in this whole crowd, right? She was not able to see darshan. So she may anticipating that she is short-sighted. And of course, when thousands and lakhs of lakhe, so many people are standing right in front of you, it's impossible to have that darshan. So see her eagerness that she wants to see the beauty of Jagannath. So what she did, she was not able to take that darshan of Jagannath. So Garuda Chadi, so she stood on Garuda Stamba. She stood on Garuda Stamba. You can see that picture that Indu Mataji has posted on the poster so beautifully. She was standing, she stood on that Garuda Stamba so that she can raise herself and can see Jagannath. And not realizing that Mahaprabhu is standing right in front, right, as beside that Garuda Stamba. Prabhura skandhe pada diya. What she did, that she stood and then she on one leg was on Garuda Stamba and another leg she put on Mahaprabhu's shoulder. And then she was seeing and taking darshan of Jagannath. So this is now another extreme case of taking darshan of lordships. Though it is not appropriate, but let's see how Mahaprabhu takes it. So what she did is that she climbed the column, the Garuda Stamba, and placed one foot on Garuda Stamba and another foot on Mahaprabhu's shoulder, and then she climbed up and she wants to take darshan of Jagannath. Dekhiya Govinda asta vyaste strike rajila thare namite Prabhu Govinda nishedila. Oh my God, as soon as Govinda saw this, now see the mood. Everybody was watching, everybody was busy, everybody has this desire to see Jagannath. But Govinda, being eternal servant, dutiful servant of Mahaprabhu, has his one eye on Mahaprabhu, that what Mahaprabhu is doing, where is Mahaprabhu? Is he okay? That was his mood, because that's his service. He also went to the temple, but his duty was to see for Mahaprabhu, what Mahaprabhu is doing. So as soon as he saw that woman is climbing on Mahaprabhu's shoulder, asta vyeste, he got really upset, and he just hastily, just crossing between those crowds, he went to that place and he told that lady, hey, come on, come down. What are you doing? Where you are standing? Can't you see? And, he really chastised that lady that you should come down. But Tara Namite Prabhu Govinda Nishedila. But seeing this attitude of Govinda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Govinda. He said, no, what are you doing? Let her witness Lord. She is busy taking darshan of the Lordships. And what Mahaprabhu is telling Govinda, he is literally chastising Govinda. Who is Govinda? He is also the disciple of Ishwarapuri. So he is actually the god brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ishwarapuri told Govinda to go and be in the eternal shelter of Mahaprabhu, serve Mahaprabhu as the eternal servant. So, but now Mahaprabhu is chastising. He's saying, Adivasa strire na kare varjana karu ka yatheshe jagannatha darshana. You are Adivas. You are behaving like an Adivas tribal person. Why you are chastising this woman? Do not forbid him. Varjana, do not say anything to that woman. Let her climb on my shoulder because she is seeing Jagannath. Karuka yashtata Jagannath darshana. Let her see Lord Jagannath to full of her satisfaction. Now, this is the learning that we also have to learn. While taking darshan, if we are in a crowd, especially as I mentioned in Janmashtami night, when the midnight darshan opens, if somebody steps on us, we should not feel offended. Rather, we should have this attitude that, oh, please, you take darshan first. This should be the attitude. We should not feel offended. But at the same time, when it comes to us, we should be very diligent. We should be very vigilant that we are not stepping on someone. We should be really, really, be cautious about it, that we are not stepping on someone because we are stepping on Vaishnavas and then seeing darshan. No, we should not do that. So, but when somebody else comes and step on us or push us, then, we should not be in that Govinda attitude. We should not think that, what kind of person this is. He has come to take darshan and he's pushing me, So this should not be the attitude. Rather, the attitude should be that even though if he has pushed me, so what? Let me be taken aside and let that person, him or her, take darshan first. So that kind of sacrifice should be there. Not just getting inside that Russian crowd and seeing darshan. Because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that we should not see Lord, but do something that the Lord sees us. So when we allow others to take darshan first, the Lord acknowledges us. And that's what we want. We don't want to take darshan of the Lord. We want that Lord should reveal himself to us. The Lord should see us. No matter if I see Krishna or no, but Krishna should see me. Right? So astavyaste sei nari bhume te namila prabhura dekhi tanra charana vandila. Now, when the woman came to her senses, as soon as she came onto that bhumi, came onto that earth, she realized that where was she? And seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu standing, she literally asked for forgiveness. She begged forgiveness by touching Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. So this is also we should try to learn that if somehow we happen to step on somebody's foot, even if it is touched, we should immediately touch their lotus feet and ask for forgiveness. That should be the attitude that we should imbibe on our daily practice while we are in that community, in the community of devotees. So she immediately came down and she asked for forgiveness. Tara arti dekhi prabhu kahi tela gila etha arti jagannatha mora nahi dila. Seeing the woman's eagerness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, "Oh lady, your eagerness is much more than mine. Lord Jagannath has not bestowed so much eagerness upon me. But your eagerness is to an extent where you don't even realize that where you are standing, where you are stepping. Because see, when we walk barefoot, we know that, you know, some thorn is pinching us, or our step is on some stone or some wood or something is there, right? But this lady was so much eager, has so much intensity to see that to take darshan of Lord Jagannath, that she didn't even realize that she's stepping on somebody's shoulder. Though Mahaprabhu was tall enough, but she didn't realize. So Mahaprabhu is taking the positive side of what women did. So that's a very important lesson for us sadhakas also. That in community building, when we are in that community of devotees, there are a lot of devotees who looks like that they have committed some mistakes and they shouldn't have done the way they are doing something. In that case, being a sadhaka, what we have to learn is that we'd have to watch their intentions, not their actions. We should see that whatever activities they are performing, we should see the intention behind that activity. And rather, what we do is we simply judge on to their actions. So that, you know, we should try to avoid. We should not immediately judge on, we not be judgmental onto their actions. Rather, we should see the intention behind doing that action. No matter that action was not being performed while taking into care of all the etiquettes, all the behavior, no matter what. But still, we should see the intentions. But when it comes to us, we should properly follow all the etiquettes, all the behavior we should try to follow. So the bottom line is that we should be very strict on ourselves, but we should be very liberal on others. Very, very liberal. That's what Mahaprabhu is teaching us. This Mahaprabhu who has inundated this whole world with Krishna Prema. That verse from Chaitanya Chandra there, right? Anand Lila Maya Vegrahara Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahat Krishna Prema Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Tasmai Mahat Krishna Prema Pradaya. Mahaprabhu has come to give that Krishna Prem to everybody. That Mahaprabhu is now telling this Urisan woman that Lord Jagannath is not bestowed that eagerness in me, that eagerness that I can see in you. I have not been bestowed, I have not been blessed with that much of eagerness. So don't worry, nothing happened, no problem at all. You didn't do anything wrong. So don't worry, I'm happy. Rather, I appreciate the way that you are taking darshan of Jagannath. So that should be our mood also. If somebody does something wrong to us, we should say, no problem. But at the same time, we should try to, imbibe all those Vaishnava etiquettes and behavior while dealing with others. Then he says, Jagannatha Vishtaira Tanu Mana Prane Moras Kande Pada Dyache Taho Nahi Jane. He's saying Jagannath is Avishta. You are Jagannath Avishta. Avishta means you are absorbed in seeing Jagannath. So much absorption is there in you. Iha Tanu Mana Prane. Through your body, through your mind, through your soul, through your life. You have so much eagerness. You are so much absorbed in seeing. That absorption is complete absorption in seeing Lord Jagannath. Therefore, she was unaware that she was putting her foot on my shoulder. That Mahaprabhu is saying to Govinda. Let's see her absorption. She's so much absorbed in Mahaprabhu that she is not even realizing that where her foot is being placed on. Now, this is what I was telling, that we should see the intention behind and not judge onto the action. Aho Bhagavati e vandi ira paya ihara prasade achi arti amar nahaya. Now Mahaprabhu is saying, Bhagavati, oh wow, how fortunate you are. Now Mahaprabhu is begging at the lotus feet of that Urisan lady and is saying that I pray to your feet I pray at your lotus feet that please you favor me with that great eagerness to see Jagannath that you were seeing. That eagerness was not there in me, that I could see in you. So please bless me so that I can be also bestowed with the same eagerness and can have that same intensity of seeing Lord Jagannath. Of course, Mahaprabhu is taking that position of humility. And through this pastime, so much for us to learn, so much for us to imbibe. Now we know that Mahaprabhu, he was not seeing Jagannath, he was seeing Rajendra Nandan Krishna playing his beautiful flute. Now Mahaprabhu's again, his absorption in seeing Jagannath, his absorption in seeing Krishna is disturbed. So this is how these waves of sukha and dukkha are coming, right? He was watching in his dream, he was witnessing in his dream the Rasalila pastime, and Govinda came up, and Mahaprabhu's, his absorption got disrupted. Still in the mood of his dream, he went to Jagannath. And as he was simply behind Garuda Stamba, he was watching, he was having darshan of Jagannath in the form of Rajendra Nandan. Now this pastime has happened. And Govinda again came and disrupted. Till the time that woman was there on Mahaprabhu's shoulder, Mahaprabhu didn't even realize it, because Mahaprabhu was also so absorbed seeing Krishna in Radha Bhav. He was in Radha Bhav and he was so much absorbed in seeing Krishna. But again, Govinda came and he shook that lady up and he said, and then Mahaprabhu's again absorption got disrupted. So again, that sukha that was there, that happiness that was there, it turned into distress because the absorption got disrupted. What Mahaprabhu is saying, see, that's what I was telling that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will be mentioning. So this is text 31. Purve ashiya be kaila Jagannatha darshana, Jagannatha dekhe sakshat Rajendra Nandana. So Mahaprabhu previously was not seeing Jagannath, but he was seeing Jagannath as Krishna, as Rajendra Nandana, as son of Maharaj Nanda. स्वप्नेरा दर्शन वेशे तदा रूपा हैलामान यहाँ तहाँ देखे सर्वत्र मुरली वदना. Previously he was seeing that swapna, right? He was dreaming about that Rasalila pastime and he was so much absorbed in his vision. So though he was disrupted by Govinda, but still he was in the same mood, because that also how it happens sometimes to us, right? When we have that intense dream that we remember even after waking up, even after taking shower, even doing our worldly duties, sometimes we are still in the thoughts of our dream because the dream was so intense. You might have experienced this. So same happened with Mahaprabhu also. Though he was awakened by Govinda, though he carried on his regular duties, but still Mahaprabhu was in the thoughts of his dream only. And therefore, when he came right in front of Jagannath, there also he was seeing Krishna, Rajendra Nanda, Shyama Sundar Krishna, Tribhanga, standing in his Tribhanga form. He was not seeing Jagannath, he was seeing Rajendra Nandan Krishna, because he was into that mood. He was so much absorbed in that vision of seeing Krishna, and he assumed the mood of a gopi, so much so that wherever he was seeing Krishna standing in Tribhanga form with a flute on his lips. एबे यदि स्त्री रे देखी प्रभु रा बाहिला आइला जगन्नाथ सुभद्रा बलराम स्वरूप देखिला. So now after seeing this woman, after this pastime that happened, that how Govinda, again disrupted Mahaprabhu's absorption. So Mahaprabhu, what happened is, Baila means he came into his external consciousness because his internal absorption was disturbed, was disrupted. So he came into his external consciousness after this pastime of this woman that happened. And now Mahaprabhu, after coming into his external consciousness, he's not seeing Rajendra Nandan Krishna, and he's seeing Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. So previously he was not seeing Jagannath with his Subhadra Maharani and Balaram, because Mahaprabhu was in Radha Bhav, was in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So Radharani is shy of seeing Subhadra Devi and Balaram, right? So she as taking the mood of Radharani, Mahaprabhu was simply absorbed in seeing Jagannath. as his Rajendra Nandan Krishna. But after this pastime, his absorption got disrupted. So now he's seeing Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra Maharani. And this brought another wave of distress. He was so happy previously, but now again this wave of dukkha, this wave of distress came in, because now Mahaprabhu came into his external consciousness, realizing that, oh, alas, I'm not in Vrindavan. I'm in Kurukshetra. I'm in Jagannath Puri, where I'm seeing Jagannath, where I'm seeing Subhadra, where I'm seeing Balabhadra. And his absorption got disrupted, and he again felt unhappy. कुरुक्षेत्र देखी कृष्णा आइचे हाला माना कहाँ कुरुक्षेत्र रहना कहाँ वृंदावन. Then he saw these three deities, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maharani. Mahaprabhu got convinced in his heart that I was simply hallucinating. I'm not in Vrindavan. I'm not with my Krishna. Oh, I am in Kurukshetra. I am in I am in Jagannath Puri, and now he's lamenting, where is Kurukshetra? Where is Vrindavan? Oh, I was simply hallucinating. So this wave of distress came over on Mahaprabhu's heart. And then what happened? Prapta Ratna Harana Aicha Vyagra Haila Vishanahana Prabhu Nijavasaila. Prapta Ratna Harana. Mahaprabhu Guru very, he got that diamond when he was simply in the absorption of Krishna. He got that diamond. So how to understand is that, suppose if you have some diamond ornament, imagine you have a diamond nose ring, or you have a diamond ring or a diamond earring, and you lost it somewhere. So everywhere you find it, okay, let me see where I have lost my diamond ring or a nose ring. And just then you see something and you pick it up and you realize, you from a far distance you know that, oh, this is shining, maybe this is my ring, maybe this is my nose ring. And you pick it up and you realize that, no, this is just a mere stone. This is not the real diamond ring that I was looking for. How much agony will be there in the heart, because you are totally absorbed in finding that lost diamond ring. But now, as soon as you find something shining, you pick it up and you realize that, no, this is not what I was looking for. Same thing happened for Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was in this consciousness when he was seeing Krishna. So it was just that he was prapta ratna haila, as if he has got the diamond of his heart, as if he got the diamond that he was looking for, because Mahaprabhu is always in the consciousness of getting Krishna, of seeing Krishna. So he got that diamond. It looks like that he got that diamond that he was looking for. But just then, when this consciousness was disrupted, he realized that, oh no, that was not the diamond I was looking for. That's mere a stone. It's just a shining stone. That Mahaprabhu was feeling that I was simply hallucinating, thinking that I'm in Vrindavan, but no. And just then, realizing that, no, this is not the diamond I was looking for. And then Mahaprabhu again felt very morose. Vishana Hana Prabhu, that distress hovered upon Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu again became upset and Nijavasa Aila. And then in that upset mood, Mahaprabhu went to his own nivas, his own place, basically he returned to his home. What he did after returning to his home, भूमेरा उपरवासी निज नखा भूमि लिखे अश्रु गंगा नेत्र वहे किछु ना देखे. And Mahaprabhu, when he returned home, he was still restless in his mind. He didn't, he didn't overcome that restlessness that was there, because so many things happened, right? 2 times that sukha, dukkha, that waves of happiness and distress came. And Mahaprabhu was crying, Ashru, Ganga Ashru Bahe, Ashru Ganga Netra Bahe. He was crying as if the Ganga is flowing from Mahaprabhu's eyes. And when water was flowing, there was a kind of a that that sand was converted into a mud, because it became wet with Mahaprabhu's tears. And on a wet mud, Mahaprabhu, with his beautiful fingernails, he was writing Krishna, 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 because he was totally absorbed in that Krishna consciousness. And that too, Kaviraj Goswami is saying, whatever Mahaprabhu was writing through his Nija Nakha, Nakha means nails, through his Nija means his own, through his own nails, whatever Mahaprabhu was writing, Kichu na dekile, he was not able to see what he is writing, because his eyes were totally wet. And when your eyes are totally wet, your vision gets blurred. You are not able to see something, right? Whatever you want to. So Mahaprabhu, though he was writing, but he was not able to see what he is writing, because his eyes were totally wet with the waters of tears. We'll end soon. Pailo Vrindavana Natha Puna Harailo Kemorani Khele Krishna Kaha Muyainu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I found Krishna, the Lord of Vrindavan. Alas, I lost him again. Who has taken my Krishna? Where have I come? So now Mahaprabhu is literally lamenting in separation that actually I have found my Krishna, because Mahaprabhu was not seeing Jagannath, he was seeing Krishna. He was seeing Krishna playing flute. So Mahaprabhu was into that absorption. But now Mahaprabhu said that, oh, where is my Lord of Vrindavan? Where is my Krishna? Where have I come? Swapne she preme prabhura gara gara mana bhaya haile haya hana harila dhana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dreamt of the Rastans, he was fully convinced that he was in Vrindavan. He was absorbed in that transcendental bliss. But when Govinda woke him up and the dream broke, he lost his diamond of his heart. He lost that precious jewel, right? Then what happened is, Unmatera praya prabhu karena gana nritya dehera swabhava karena shayana bhojana kritya. Mahaprabhu was simply dancing like a madman, running from here and thither, hither and thither, here and there. Where is my Krishna? Where is Vrindavan? I want to go to Vrindavan. I want to see my Krishna. In that mood, Mahaprabhu was simply dancing and was totally absorbed in that transcendental bliss, in the transcendental madness. But later, he carried out his duties, his necessities of the body, like Karena Shayana, Snana, Bhojana, Kritya. He took shower, then he took his bhojan, he ate prasadam. So he came back to his external consciousness, but internally still lamenting on what has happened. Two times, these waves of sukha, dukkha came, and Mahaprabhu is totally lamenting in that separation of Krishna. Last verse today. Ratri haila swarupa Ramanandra laya apana manira bhave kaha udhagiya. At night, now in daytime, what happened is Mahaprabhu, in his internal consciousness, he was looking for Krishna, right? But still, externally, he was carrying out his worldly duties. Through his heart, he was lamenting, but externally, he was simply carrying out his duties. But Ratri Haila, as soon as the night came, Mahaprabhu at night to his Swarup and Ramananda Rai, through Lalita and Vishaka, to Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai, he revealed his ecstatic feeling of separation. He revealed his mind, he revealed his heart, and he explained what he is undergoing through. His ecstatic feelings were revealed by Mahaprabhu to Rai Ramananda. Now, this is very, very important that we also should try to, follow. Just like, whenever we should never ever share our sadhana, our, everything has to be confidential. Whatever sadhana we are doing, we should really keep it confidential. Just like Narottam Das Thakur says, apana bhajana katha na koibo yatha tatha. Whatever I'm doing, whatever bhajan I'm doing, whatever sadhana I'm doing, not reveal it to everybody. Na kahibo yatha yatha. Ahita habo savad, um, ahito habe savadhan, like means that we should be very savadhan, we should be very cautious, that we should not reveal these secrets, these confidential matters to everybody. And that's what Mahaprabhu was doing. Externally, Mahaprabhu later on carried out his worldly duties, but later, only through his confidential servants, to his confidential associates like Sarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, Mahaprabhu revealed his external feelings. And since Mahaprabhu revealed his external feelings to Sarup Damodar, there Mahaprabhu bestowed that mercy also on Sarup Damodar Goswami, where Sarup Damodar Goswami was writing whatever Mahaprabhu is undergoing in short, in a sutra form. And this Raghunath Das Goswami, who was under the shelter of Sarup Damodar Goswami, was elaborating on all these pastimes. And later, these pastimes were heard. Raghunath Das Goswami actually narrated these pastimes at the banks of Radhakund, where our dear Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami noted down and Chaitanya Charitamrta came. On that note, we'll stop here. One thing that I would like to add is that though we discuss these pastimes of Gambhira, these pastimes after Mahaprabhu taking sannyas, but these pastimes are very, very painful for a devotee. So therefore, we see that in all our ISKCON temples, we worship Mahaprabhu as Nadia Bihari, not as a sannyasi, not Shiv, the shaved head, and holding Kamandal or Danda in his hand. But we worship Mahaprabhu with the long curly hairs, wearing beautiful kundal, wearing beautiful, dhotis, and dancing in Sankirtan with all his associates. So that's the mood we should try to worship. But these pastimes of sannyas, after taking sannyas, we should relish it, we should read it. But it's very, very painful because Mahaprabhu went through a lot. So when it comes to the worship part, we should try to worship and envision Mahaprabhu, the dancing in Sankirtan with his beautifully hairs falling onto his shoulders. In that mood, we should try to worship Mahaprabhu. But at the same time, like yesterday also I mentioned, that Gaur Govind, Srimad Gaur Govind Maharaj always says that don't disturb Mahaprabhu's mood. Don't put a peacock feather on Mahaprabhu's crown. Uh, yeah, it's not that some devotees they put, I'm not saying that they're wrong, and when Gaur Govind Maharaj will never say that it's wrong, but because he is Krishna, so there is no harm in placing a peacock feather on his head or placing tulsi leaves on his lotus feet. But that brings Mahaprabhu into his external consciousness of being Krishna. But if we really want to worship Mahaprabhu, we should worship him in the mood of Srimati Radharani, because that's what he came for in this material world. He wants to exhibit that Radha Bhav. So we should not try to put peacock feather and not disturb his mood. And we should place even the tulsi at Mahaprabhu's hand so that Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, can offer that same tulsi at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Okay, so on that note, I'll try to end. I'm sorry. In starting of the class, I just got swayed away. So I took 15-20 minutes extra. Thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki jai.
Thank you so much, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, for such a beautiful class, lovely realizations, lovely lessons, and so much intense absorption in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's always a pleasure to hear from you, Mataji. Thank you so much. No questions, but I wanted to appreciate your absorption in the Katha. Hare Krishna. Very, very beautiful lessons.
Thank you so much, Preeti Vilasni Mataji, for giving this opportunity. Otherwise, never feel qualified in reading or speaking something on Antya Lila. But thank you so much for all your inspiration, all your enthusiasm that is transferred to me, because of which I'm able to speak. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Feeling is mutual, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, for such a beautiful, beautiful and nectarian class, Mataji. And thank you so much for letting us know in what mood we have to worship Mahaprabhu. And these pastimes are really painful. The way you explained was so mesmerizing, Mataji. Thank you so much. And I request all the devotees, if anybody have any questions or comments, realizations to Mataji, you can please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, very emotional. Mataji, on the text 36, I have a little doubt, Mataji. Did you read just from this literature or?
No, only from this, only from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta.
Okay, because the 36, what I was reading the Bengali and I was understanding, because you said that, Mahaprabhu was crying and the sand became mud and then he was writing. But if I read the text, it says he was just writing on the, so
on the
that's
ground,
what I,
right?
yeah, on the
the
ground.
marks. Yeah, in that case, I was simply realizing.
I'm sorry, Mataji, for.
Yeah, no, you are right, Mataji. Mahaprabhu was writing on the ground, but what I was immediately that came up on my mind is when I was saying is that you remember that Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu narrated that pastime where Radharani was in her kunja and she was waiting for Krishna and Krishna didn't show up. And that time Radharani was simply crying, and she was in the forest, and that that sand, that area became wet, and on the wet area she was writing Krishna, 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 because she was in so much absorption of Krishna and she was waiting for Krishna. So she was also writing Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So immediately, that pastime that Prabhu was mentioning, that pastime that came up in my mind. And I was simply envisioning that how even just like Radharani was waiting for Krishna and in the forest in her kunja, and she was crying and weeping, and because of that crying there was a muddy pool that was made and Radharani was writing. So same way Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Radharani, he was also just writing, making that marks of with his fingernails. But that's what I was contemplating.
Oh, please forgive me, Mataji, for disturbing your realization.
No. Mahaprabhu was, I was simply contemplating that just like Srimati Radharani, he was also must have been writing Krishna, Krishna, Krishna in total absorption of Krishna.
So beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. I just wanted to know if I'm missing
to
something.
That pastime, but no, thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Sorry again. Sorry. Hare Krishna. Thank you again.
But what he was writing, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was saying that he could not, because he himself was blinded by tears which flowed from the eyes like the Ganga. So he was also not aware what marking he was making on the ground.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Very, very beautiful class, Mataji. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji.
Very beautiful class, Mataji. So many lessons, so many Vaishnava etiquettes that we can learn from this pastime, that which I don't have one also. I have to, keep in my mind, okay, I have to do this every day, how we have to behave when we go to temple or when somebody hurt us, how we have to feel. It is very, very nice, Mataji, very beautiful. And the pastime about the dream that you are sharing. Yes, if some dream is coming, it's not only for one. Sometimes, 1 day, 2 day, we carry away with that dream only. Why did we see this? What is this exactly happening with us? It's so true, Mataji. Not even one. Sometimes I feel like 2-3 days I'm in that dream only. Whole day I'm working, but that dream only will carry me. Why this is happening? It's so nice, Mataji. So nice. And Mataji, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was woke up by Govinda, he didn't scold him like, why did you disturb my sleep? But later he got the scolding when that lady was, stepping on him, and then
That Mahaprabhu didn't scold Govinda that you disrupted my consciousness, but Mahaprabhu disrupted Govinda that how come you can chastise an innocent, simple woman who was simply engrossed in seeing Jagannath.
Yeah, very nice,
There
very
also
nice.
Mahaprabhu was simple chastising and telling him that you are like an Adivas, you are uncivilized man, you don't know the proper etiquettes.
Very beautiful pastime, Mataji. Very beautiful class. So many lessons, so many points, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, very
Hare
nice.
Krishna, Kamadiki Mataji,
Yes,
Dandavat
Hare Krishna,
Pranams.
nectar. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji. No, please, Mataji, you please go ahead. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Yes, Mataji, I agree with our Vinita Gandhari Gopi that the past time we explained Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji is standing nearby that Shri Jagannath temple that combined that ladies will see
Yeah.
that past time Mataji. And the another one is Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji is like a mood of separation of Sridham Vrindavan Dham and Srimati Sisi Radha Rani and all the Krishna. And he explained so nicely about the Vaishnava etiquette when we are in a temple. Jane and Jane may be, if we hurt any Vaishnava when we are working in the kitchen, we have to be very humbly उनको मनाना है और we have to do, because this is still a Prabhupada movement, so we have to do, it's a teamwork, so we have to do together only. अकेले हम कर सकते सेवा. So that bhav is very nectarian. You explained that what is our mood to serve Vaishnava and what is our behavior with other Vaishnava, because somebody is sitting from in Mumbai Churchgate or somebody is Grant Road, somebody is from Virat. So कोई बहुत दूर से दूर है, कोई नजदीक है और कोई एकदम नजदीक है. चैतन्य महाप्रभु के लोटस फीट के नजदीक आ गए भक्ति में. So that we have to carefully take care of newcomer Vaishnava. Hari Hari Gauranga Danvat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Thank you Mataji for your today class is very Mataji. It is in a separation mood, so and we have to do a Shri Nityananda and Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji's Padakamalam dressing so nicely. That also I learned lesson, Mataji. Hari Hari Gauranga. Koti Koti Dhanvat Pranam to your seva.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. And glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Very beautiful class, Mataji, and definitely teaching us so many lessons. I didn't even realize why we are always worshipping, Nitai Gaura in the altar. Why do we always have them in the altar? Why is Mahaprabhu always dressed so beautifully? I did not think that, okay, we don't even try to dwell into the mood that he was in while he was in Gambhira. So thank you so much for that, Mataji. Mataji, I do have a couple questions, Mataji. Okay, so one was, is there any specific reason, like you mentioned that he was standing behind the Garuda Stamba to see Lord Jagannath or Lord Krishna? I mean,
Yeah,
he
because he
was seeing.
doesn't want to surpass Garuda. He doesn't want to surpass Garuda, and he was standing behind Garuda Stamba, just seeing. And another reason is because Mahaprabhu is in this Radha Bhav. So, he was not openly coming.
Shy.
With the shyness, he was just on a distance. He was watching Jagannath, but he was not seeing Jagannath. He was seeing Krishna playing flute.
Okay. So, Mataji, I mean, in that light, are we not supposed to like cross the altar, like when we go?
Yes, Mataji. In that light also, especially during the Shringar Arati. Okay. especially the Darshan Arti, because morning we have Mangla Arati, right? When Mangla Arati Darshan opens. So basically, whenever the Darshan opens, we should try to position ourselves in the temple where we don't come into in between the vision of Prabhupada and the deities. We should always try to make this point that we don't disturb the vision of Chila Prabhupada while he's seeing the deities. Later, because as soon as the darshan opens, let Prabhupada see first, right? That should be the mood. And later, because of the place, because every temple has a limited place, right? And when the crowd is more, then yes, you know, you can come in between and you can have darshan. But as soon as the darshan opens, whether it's Mangala Arti darshan or it's Shingar Arti darshan or it's evening darshan, whenever the darshan opens, the curtain opens, make sure that you are not, blocking the vision of Prabhupada, because let Prabhupada see the deities first.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very wonderful class, Mataji, explaining, and so nicely you're teaching us how his mood is. So sorry. And how we need to understand these pastimes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
I forgot my second question.
No worries.
So sorry.
No worries. Anything else?
Hey Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for such a sweet and nectarian class, Mataji. Very sweet pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And thank you for explaining how compassionate he is, though the Orissa lady was stepping on him and climbing on him. What in the world? Yeah, Mahaprabhu is so magnanimous. Mataji, I just have one quick question to you. So, do we know what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is writing in the mud while he was crying? No, we don't know.
What Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, that he was just making some marks on the ground with his fingernails. And what he was doing was also not mentioned by, because Mahaprabhu himself doesn't know what he was writing. Of course he knows, but he was not able to see because he was also blinded with the tears. But what I was relating this pastime to another pastime, where Radharani was writing Krishna, Krishna, because she was feeling intense pain of separation from Krishna, where Krishna didn't show up and she was simply waiting, dressed beautifully in her kunja. But here, nowhere it's mentioned that what Mahaprabhu was writing. He was in his transcendental madness. So he was, what Kaviraj Goswami is saying, that he was just, likhe. He's saying, Bhumire upara vashi nija nakhe bhumi likhe. He was writing something on that bhumi, making some markings. But Ashru Ganga netre vahe kichu na dekhe, because he himself couldn't see what he is writing, because his eyes were, the Ganga was flowing through his eyes.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, anything else?
Do any other devotees have any other questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories Gauranga. Mataji, just wanted to express my heartfelt thank you to you because it was, total absorption both ways. The class was so engaging and the absorption in you was mesmerizing all of us also. So thank you, Mataji, for showing us the mood of Mahaprabhu. And of course, it's not easy to perceive the mood because I'm not there yet, but still just attempting and trying to get there, Mataji. But Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Just wanted to express my gratitude to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Radhika Kasturi Mataji, for always being on the call and showering your encouraging words. Thank you.
Any other devotees have any other questions or comments to Mataji? If we don't have any other questions or comments, we can end the call here.
Sure, Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you so much once again, Mataji, for such an enlightening class today. And we are so grateful to you. We look forward for your association in future. Let's pay our obeisances to Mataji. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrtam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Har Grace Kirtida Sundari Devi Dasi Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Very much.